First, I started as a dancer when I was very, very young. When I was 5 in kindergarten, I had a girlfriend called Miwa. We became boyfriend and girlfriend because she could tie her shoelaces and I couldn't. So Miwa was tying my shoelaces, and our parents really wanted to send us to dance lessons together. And my parents took me to the first class, and Miwa never showed up. But I stayed in that dance class, and I've been dancing ever since. And one morning, while I was on my way to high school at the American College here in Sofia, I got a text message saying, "Hey, do you want to come and be on Dancing with the Stars in Vietnam? You have to leave in 1 week, and you have to do the show for 6 months." And I was like, well, this sounds really great, but I don't think it's physically possible. But my dad was like, "No, you should quit high school, just go and do the gig in Vietnam and we'll figure out how to do that." And so 1 week later I was on a plane to Vietnam, across the world.
Being an artist today in Bulgaria is actually it's very exciting. There's so many opportunities to do something new, to innovate, and there's I would say a big hunger for the audience to be surprised. There's a lot of things that we see internationally that haven't quite yet made their way to Bulgaria, so it's a great time to be very bold and to experiment and to try, I would say, more unexpected ways to connect with the audience. I would say for upcoming artists, it's important to do a lot of collaborations that might not be as planned or as refined. What I mean is, when an artist is still developing their style, there's a lot of young artists who are ready to, collaborate on something even if there's no budget, or they just want to go outside their comfort zone. So for very young artists, I would say, do as much as you can, find something to do every week, meet new people in a field that's a bit outside of your own field. So let's say if you're a choreographer and film director like me, then go and see what the composers are doing, go and see what the photographers are doing, and do something just to try and fail a lot. And then for more established artists, it's really important in terms of opportunities to find the right time to jump on the international scene. And right now there's a lot of European projects that, being in Bulgaria, you can certainly reach out and find some international collaborators. But every artist should find the moment where they can maybe grow their vision and use those international partners to do something big in Bulgaria as well. For me, this year I was working on a project that turned out a lot bigger in scale than we had anticipated. So we worked together with the Goethe Institute, which with their help we were able to bring a German choreographer and a German dancer, and also a much larger budget to do something that was maybe very ambitious for the scene today, but it worked out.
I was planning on studying medicine up until that very moment, but while I was in Vietnam, I got accepted into Columbia University in New York with almost full scholarship, so I changed my major from pre-med to dance. I was on my way to New York, also deciding to change the style of dance that I specialize in. I was really interested in contemporary dance because of the potential to actually reach a lot of different people and tell a lot of different stories. In ballroom dancing, you basically have one storyline. You have the man that's really handsome, and then you have the woman that's really sexy, and they flirt, and they get together, and then you fight a little bit, and then at the end you're really happy together. But with contemporary dance, you can tell stories about people of different ages, genders. You can have a dance with 40 people, you can have a dance with one person who doesn't have someone attractive to dance with. So it was a really an opportunity for me to really branch out and see what are the types of human stories that I actually want to tell as an artist.
It was an immersive performance at the regional landfill in Gabrovo. So the whole concept of the show is to show a dystopian future where we didn't switch to more sustainable energy and time. The whole Gabrovo Biennial this year was under the theme of economy of means, so using satire and art to challenge us to think of a future where we're not as wasteful. So the concept had 9 dancers. It was at a really unconventional location. It had partnerships with Greenpeace and the Gabrovo Museum of Humor and Satire, and just so many people and partners and things to keep track of. It was really long process, and the location itself is maybe around 2 kilometers of landfill that you have to take the audience through. So it's a lot of how do you keep their attention? You need a lot of sets, you need interesting costumes, you need the dancers to be really well rehearsed. So it was a big feat, but I think we pulled it off.
During the pandemic, like many people, I moved back to Bulgaria, and I founded my own production company here to kind of be a house to all of the stage and film projects that I'm doing. And I saw a big gap in the Bulgarian market for artistic work that somehow reaches in a more intimate and a more direct way with the audience. So I started creating immersive performances, which have a tradition in places like London and New York. An immersive show is kind of a theater show where you, as the audience, aren't just the observer or someone who is sitting, but usually you're really like dropped into the experience, and you have some type of autonomy where exactly you're gonna go and how you're going to experience it. So far we've produced 2 immersive shows in Bulgaria. The first one is called Kitchen. It takes place in a culinary academy where the audience gets to experience all of the psychological baggage that the professional chefs experience while they're making the food that we get to enjoy in the end. So you arrive at this restaurant, but then instead of the food, you get platter with headphones and a note that says "Follow me." So you get up out of your chair and you follow them into the kitchen, and you experience a lot of interesting situations, all told through dance. And then at the end, you get to enjoy a delicious dessert after you have this knowledge. And this year, we just wrapped our new production called The Last Sunset in partnership with Greenpeace.
For me, the key to finding the right artists to work with is some type of, for me it's the sensibility. Like I have artists who I think are very good in a very commercial direction. I know artists who are very good at, doing something really unexpected, and even they surprise themselves. So it's important to know, like, do you want an end product that you can control every step of the way, or are you ready to do something that yourself as the director might not know what the end result will be? And then I try to find the right people for each project and to identify if someone can be a really amazing artist, but the way they approach their work might be very different. There's a larger difference in the way artists work than I would say in other industries. Sometimes you can't even fathom how random another colleague's process might be. So it's important to know how they work before you ask them to work together. I think the more memorable and immersive an experience, the higher the chance that it will get ingrained in someone's head. But it has to do a lot with shaking the conventions of what we see in art. Sometimes, you know, with, let's say, a dance performance, you're gonna go and see a contemporary dance performance once, and if you don't like it, then you're already gonna have a preconceived notion about the whole genre. So I take the work that we do very seriously, and I try to always offer people an experience that they think as something new, and also partnering with organizations like the show we did before The Last Sunset. It was in partnership with a culinary academy. So for that one, we were able to reach a lot of people that love good food, but they'd never been to a dance performance. And with The Last Sunset, we were able to reach a lot of people from the Gabrovo region who had also never been to an immersive performance. So I'm always looking for a new audience to kind of hold out our hand and hopefully turn them into fans and also advocates of the genre of work that we're doing, so then they can go and see other artists as well. And it's like a big ecosystem.
For me, all of the projects that I've been doing since New York have always been supercharged by the partners I found. Sometimes I might have a creative idea, but it's only as strong as the other pieces of information. If I'm making a show about the environment, it's essential to have a partner who really is on the forefront of the movement. If I'm making a show about LGBTQ rights, then it needs to be with the people who are on the ground doing this work. And I think partnering creatively is something that we all need to exercise more. And for me, it's really exciting being here with all of you, because I'm already thinking about a lot of new ideas that are outside of the bubble of the entertainment industry.
Something that we started doing is always incorporating some type of feedback form in the show. Like with Kitchen, our culinary show, at the end there was this waiter's note, so the audience could leave their impressions of the show on the waiter's note at the end. And this is really key, tracking the experience that people had, because with art sometimes it's very nebulous and very arbitrary. You don't really know, did you make a good product or not? Did people like it or not? So we always try to track that and to see what are the demographics of the people that we're reaching. I would say that maybe nowadays more and more young people are interested in seeing something out of the box. The older generation that grew up watching artists that were also trained in a more traditional way, they also crave a traditional experience, which is normal because that's what they've been fed through their life. So it's about sparking this into as many people as we can, but we know that sometimes the performance may be too out of the box for someone, and that's okay also. With a new business, like in my case, the production company came out of the need to kind of have a hub for all the projects that were already naturally, some of them were coming to me, but there were also projects that I wanted to initiate. And for us, the biggest challenge was narrowing down the focus, because there's so many different fields that we want to tap into, like immersive live performance and also commercials and music videos and things that have dance as a central element. So in the beginning, when it was something that came out of my own projects. It was very hard to look at it objectively. But now I invited a managing partner, and now we're growing the team. So the more people you have in the organization, it's, I would say, somehow easier to establish its own identity and kind of the personality of the brand, because when it's just you're the brand, or you're the startup and it's kind of your own ideas, then it's a lot more fluid based on whatever emotions you're going through. So it's very hard to look at your own business objectively. But the more people come to it, it becomes more stable, like a few particles are coming together, and then you can finally see what is this object that's actually taking form. So I would say, even if you're starting a new business and you don't have the income or the financial resources to bring on team members, even working with friends or mentors to give you this look from the outside to actually tell you what the thing you're trying to create, how it is perceived, that's really important. And it took us a while to be able to bring those people on to then see what it is that we're making.
I think we all have several careers inside of us, but it's a matter of finding the people who can bring this out in us, and that's why I think the partnerships are the thing that is always driving me forward, and always this interest in, okay, now it's choreographing, but then that's not enough, so maybe then it's directing, and now it's producing, and now I'm also really interested in the potential of NFTs within the creative industry, within things like choreography, copyright, and so many new directions.
For me, the next few things are going to be kind of branching off and building the methodology of the type of immersive shows that we're doing, not necessarily right off the bat growing in scale, because exponentially we can't sustain always making a bigger show and a bigger show and a bigger show, but refining what it is about our work and streamlining what is the process. With artistic work, it can be a bit random every time where the inspiration comes from. But now I'm also taking part as a student in an academy for choreographers called Helios, with Bulgarian mentor Vladimir Angilov, who from Washington came to Bulgaria to teach some choreographers. And I was really pleasantly surprised that he managed to put down in a manual like the art of choreography, which always was something very intuitive. So now I'm feeling very inspired to kind of put a method to the madness that I feel is what we're creating, and then once we have a good foundation of the type of work that we're doing and what it is about the work that really sets us apart, then we'll scale and do that. And in general, I think thinking outside the box is the only way really to, in these current times, to stay relevant and to stay informed what other people are doing, because it's very easy to fall in our own habits, and so much innovation is happening everywhere around. So if we don't have the mindset to take on these other ideas, we run the risk of very quickly becoming obsolete. I try to be very mindful of the information that I take in, because our empathy and the frustration we feel can be very powerful, but it should also be very measured, because sometimes it's very easy to get so overwhelmed by everything that's going on in the world that then you feel so hopeless and so powerless to actually do change. And I think everyone should identify what is the one topic or the one place where they feel they can be the most helpful and contribute in their highest form, and channel their energy there, because there's so many tragedies and so many causes that we want to help, but if you give 0.5% to 15 things, then you're not doing that much of a difference. So it's good to be educated and kind of become the authority and the person people reach out to for this one specific goal or this one cause that you feel very strongly about. And then, when you do see something else and you want to help, then you identify who is the thought leader for that cause, because they will be able to make the most out of the resources or the time that you want to give. And also, I think with how fast things are moving, even if you, professionally, you're ready to go that route, socially and personally, you should find something that's super slow, and everyone should have a slow hobby. Like for me, I like to read a lot of books that have somehow stood the test of time, and seeing, not even things from previous centuries, but seeing someone very smart and articulate talk about things in the 30s or 40s or 50s, that's very inspiring for me, that those ideas have stood the test of time. And if I can read them and I can find something relevant there, then maybe I can keep one eye on how fast things are going, but I can also try to create something that is as timeless as those works. So it's kind of like spinning two very different plates or two very different gears at the same time.